Hi everybody, it's Gemma. Welcome back to Pampered Wolf. Completely fresh face right from the beginning of this video. No makeup on. I've just got back from the school run and I just thought, why not? I have so much makeup down here, which I am going to be recreating Princess Eugenie's wedding look, which was so beautiful and very, very English rose. So if you are interested in finding out what products I use and how I do it, then please keep watching. So Princess Eugenie looked absolutely beautiful on her wedding day, which was last Friday. I didn't actually watch the wedding. I was having my hair done. What can you say? I've had a lot more dark put in. You'll have to let me know later on in this video when you can actually see it, what you think of it, and whether you think I should keep the dark or whether I should go back blonde, which, by the way, is not natural. Just telling you, just in case you didn't know. Okay, so we're going to jump straight into primers, and today I'm going to be using two different primers, which is very unlike me on my channel. I usually only use one, if any at all, but I do have some large pores on my cheeks and some texture and large pores in between my brows, which I want to correct before I create a soft, glowy, illuminated canvas to apply my foundation on top of. And usually illuminating primers don't fill in my pores how I like it. So I'm going to be using the Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser by Maybelline. I will list all the products that I'm using below in the description box, as well as all their prices. So this is just by Maybelline. I think it's only around about £7, but I will link everything below. So I only need a tiny weeny bit because I'm only putting it where I need it. So I need it here, I need it between my brows and a little bit over my forehead. I'm just going to pat that in place. Okay, and everywhere else on my face, especially on the tops of my cheekbones, I'm going to be applying an illuminating primer. This is one by Maybelline. Again, this is such a lovely primer. It's one of my favourites, and it's the Master Prime Illuminating Primer. So just a tiny weeny bit on my fingertips, rub those together and just press it where I want it. I really love this primer. It makes your skin feel so hydrated and just really lush. So just to add that little bit of extra glow, I am going to add a tiny bit of the MAC Strobe Cream just at the tops of my cheekbones and also in the centre of my forehead where she had quite a glowy look. I don't have the full version of this. This is just a tester, but I am only going to be using the tiniest amount. Just going to tap that on the tops of my cheekbones and bring that in the centre of my forehead as well. So I watched the royal wedding on the iPlayer when I got back from having my hair done, and I actually thought when I first caught sight of Princess Eugenie on the top of the steps as she was just about to make her entrance, I thought that she got quite a high coverage foundation on, which is very, very unusual for a royal, but her skin looked flawless. So I thought, high coverage foundation. It actually turns out that Princess Eugenie's skin is actually flawless, and she had quite a light covering of foundation on, which is much more acceptable for the royals. So the one that I'm going to be using today is the Dior Face and Body. This is one of my favourite foundations of all time. I have done a review on this. I will link it up here for you if you haven't seen that review already, but it is an absolutely beautiful foundation. This is in the shade 1W. And I'm not actually going to apply this in dots over my face. I'm going to apply it to my brush, which is the 103 Define Buffing Brush from Zoeva. And I'm going to apply it in tiny, tiny amounts and just dust this over the skin as and when I need it. I'm going to apply this in very, very light layers, just so that I don't apply too much, because she hardly had any on. You could still see all her freckles through the foundation. So we're going to move on to concealer, and the concealer that I'm going to use is quite a high coverage concealer just to make sure everything is absolutely flawless. This is by MAC and it's the Pro Longwear Concealer, and this is the shade NC20, which is perfect for hiding my dark circles, but I hardly use any at all. So I've just popped a little bit on the back of my hand, but I won't even use half of that. So the tiniest bit on my 142 concealer brush from Zoeva, and I'm just going to dot that in place. This is such a good concealer. And I find that this doesn't go creasy underneath the eye as long as you don't apply too much. There is a very fine line with just the right amount and far too much, so you have to be really, really careful. I'm going to take that across the eyelid as well because I'm not going to be applying an eyeshadow primer to the lids. I want the natural skin to actually poke through on the lids. So once I've done that, I'm just going to add a little bit of RCMA powder underneath just to set that in place. And I'm also going to do my eyelids as well, just to make sure none of the foundation or the concealer on my eyelids moves, which it does tend to do because I've got quite greasy eyelids. Okay, so we're going to move on to brows. For Princess Eugenie, it was all about brows and blush. Everything else was very, very natural. The brows were a little bit too prominent for me. They were quite darkened and very, very noticeable. They didn't blend in with the rest of her face. They were on show. So we're going to make a big deal of the brows on this. It's not my favourite look. I mean, what did you think of Princess Eugenie's wedding look? Did you really like it? Do let me know in the comment section below. I thought it was a little bit of overkill of the blush, and I thought the brows were like, ah, but I thought she looked really pretty anyway. I thought the look really suited her, but I'm not sure how it's going to look on me today. So we'll see, let's go for it. We're going to bring out the soap again today. You know how I love my PEARS soap, so we're going to be bringing this back out to play today. I'm just going to spritz a little bit of the Urban Decay Chill on there. You don't need to use a setting spray, you can just use a little bit of water and then just you rub your spoolie in there and get it covered. And then just take off a little bit of the excess because we don't want to overdo it. And we're just going to rub this through the brow so that they're all standing to attention. When this dries, it dries rock solid. So just be careful you don't add too much, but you need to apply enough. It's just a bit of trial and error. Now, I did trim my brows ready for this video last night, so they are nice and short, which they need to be for this particular look. If you struggle with actually trimming your brows, the best way to do it, I find it the easiest way anyway, is by using soap to make everything stick up and then getting the scissors and trimming them off. So much easier when they are all in place to begin with before you start getting the scissors out and hacking bits of your eyebrow off that you really want to keep there. So I'm not adding any more soap, but as the soap's drying, I'm just brushing through my brow a little bit more to get them in the position that I actually want them in. So once you've got those brow hairs exactly where you want them, and they will look a little bit strange at first, especially if you're not used to seeing yourself with your eyebrow hairs pointing at the ceiling. Does look a little bit funny, but don't worry, once you've applied the other products, everything will come together, it will all be fine, I promise. So once you've got those brow hairs exactly where you want them, you need to leave the soap to set for a couple of minutes before you apply any further product. So I'm going to move on to the eyes. Now the eye look was so subtle because her look was all about brows and cheeks, so she kept the eye makeup to a minimum. Just a little bit of a shimmer shadow on the lid, and a little bit of brown kohl pencil just to soften it off a little bit. So I'm going to be using the Soph palette from REVLON, and I'm going to be dipping into this colour here, which is called Everyday, and I'm just going to use my finger to smudge this onto the lid. Like I said earlier on, I am not using an eyeshadow primer because I wanted this look to remain as natural as possible. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the shadow using my fingertip. So once that's finished, I'm just going to take a fluffy brush and just blend out any harsh edges just to make sure everything is perfectly blended and you can't really see where the shimmer shadow begins and where it ends. Not going to take it any higher up than the actual lid space. I'm just going to keep it straight to the lid. Princess Eugenie's usual look is quite a bit of kohl eyeliner. She tends to use black kohl on the lid as well as in the tight line and in the waterline. Now on her wedding day she went for a more subtle approach, a softer look with a brown kohl pencil. I'm going to be using the shade Teddy from MAC, and I'm going to go just on the outer half of the eye and then in the waterline and in the tight line as well. I always find that these MAC pencils, because I've got quite oily eyelids, the oil seals the top of the pencil, so you just have to wipe the top so that it just breaks through that oil before it'll actually draw on the eyelid. I find that all MAC pencils do this to me, but it's because of the natural oils in my skin. So once that's finished, I'm just going to take a little cotton bud or whatever anybody else calls these. What are these called? No idea. And I'm just going to soften off those edges just a little bit, just to blend them in and smoke that out just a little bit. So choosing to use a brown kohl pencil instead of a black kohl pencil gives a much softer, more natural look, and she looked absolutely beautiful. Now a lot of emphasis was put on the lashes. Usually at this point I would use my Charlotte Tilbury Legendary Lashes mascara. I have run out. It has finally gone after about 5 months, maybe even 6. Really good mascara, and it's out of stock at the moment, so I am absolutely gutted. So I'm going to use one that is almost as good, which is the Chanel Le Volume de Revolution. Let's just kill the lashes before we pop that on. Let's get some Chanel on those lashes. Her lashes looked absolutely stunning, and she didn't look like she'd used false lashes or individual lashes. They looked like her own. So I've applied 2 coats of mascara to the top lashes, 1 coat to the bottom lash, just to give that natural look while still making the lashes look voluminous and long and just lush and hydrated and beautiful. We're going to move on to brows, finish them off. Now I'm a little bit nervous because usually I use a brow pencil. I use them on my channel all the time. I find them so easy to work with, but I think this look would look better with a brow powder, and I don't have one of those. So I'm going to use a little bit of an eyeshadow. I'm going to dip back into the Soph palette from Revolution, and I'm going to go into this shade which is called Lakes with my brow line brush, which is the 322 brush from Zoeva. I'm hardly going to apply any, so I'm going to knock off all that excess. Had a little bit of a practice run through with a much darker shade yesterday, and it was very dark. But she did emphasize her brows a lot. They were dark and they were very bushy, so let's give it a go, see what it looks like. Just going to pat that product on. We're not going to fill in the entire brow because we still want it to look quite natural. Now Eugenie has much thicker and fuller eyebrows than I do, so I've obviously had to make mine look fuller using this technique, which she won't have had to have used on Friday because her brows are so much fuller than mine already. So that's the brows finished. And although I used an eyeshadow to create this look, I have no idea how long this is going to last throughout the day, especially as it's teeming it down with rain outside. So when I pick the kids up later, my eyebrows might be running down my face. But anyway, I use the shade Lakes from the Soph palette by Revolution if anybody wants to recreate this exact look. Moving on to the most important part of her wedding look, which is blush. So had I been doing her makeup, I perhaps would have toned down the blusher a little bit because I thought it was just a little bit too much overkill, but what do I know? If you agree with me, do comment in the comment section below, or if you don't, if you thought that it was the perfect amount, also comment and put me in my place because sometimes I need it. I'm going to be using the most pigmented blush that I have, and It's by e.l.f. This is the Duo palette. I will link all the prices below and the colours and shades of all these products. So I'm going to get my little blusher brush by MAC. I think it's 153, but it's rubbed off and it's a really good brush, so I have to keep using it. So I'm going to dust this on the tops of the cheekbones. I'm going to just build this up in layers so that we don't get too much on. And I'm also going to use this as bronzer. Now I learnt that from Wayne Goss a few weeks ago and I've been using that tack ever since on certain looks that I do. It's a really, really natural, beautiful, flushed way of applying a blush. So I'm also going to apply it on the temples. Now, if you haven't subscribed to Wayne Goss's channel, I'm not sure if I said Matt Goss earlier on and he was from Bros. Sorry if I did. But if you haven't subscribed to Wayne Goss's channel, you really need to. He is an amazing makeup artist. Now, I'm not a professional makeup artist, so I do get a lot of tips and tricks from him. He is amazing. So if you haven't subscribed to his channel already, I mean, he doesn't need any plugs from me. He really doesn't need the help. But I highly recommend that you go and check out his channel because he's absolutely amazing. So I'm just going to apply this. I'm also going to apply this right at the hairline. This just gives a lovely flushed look to the skin. Just like you've been out in the cold and come in and it's that beautiful fresh look. And I'm just going to blend that down the forehead. I'm also going to go just over the bridge of the nose as well and just come down the other side. And then I'm going to use my fingertips to just blend that out just a little bit. I'm going to move on to the lips. Now, firstly, I'm going to line the lips using the Revlon Colourstay in the shade Natural. This is such a beautiful lip liner and it's the exact same shade as my natural lip colour. And we are going very, very natural on the lips. If you want a full-blown tutorial, by the way, on how to make your lips bigger without having lip injectables, then please do let me know in the comment section. So once I finish my liner, it's time to move on to lipstick. I actually bought this product at the weekend. It's by Dior. I more or less live in Dior. This is Dior Backstage that I got this from in Debenhams, very, very close to me. Debenhams has the most amazing beauty department that has just opened and I could live there. I think they should allocate me a table to live under. It is amazing. A big shout out to all the girls on the Dior Backstage desk. You are all amazing and you treated me and my mum so nicely and really looked after us the other day when we came in. My mum actually beat me to this and bought this last Wednesday. I only bought it on Saturday. So this product is Dior Addict lipstick and this is in the shade Bright. So this is such a lovely lipstick. It actually has a moisture core that runs all the way through to the bottom of the lipstick, so your lips remain really hydrated and plump and beautiful all day. This is quite a shiny lipstick but very, very subtle and natural at the same time, and this again is in the shade Bright if you didn't catch me earlier. So I'm just gonna pop this on. So beautiful. And such a natural shade. So I'm just going to do a little bit of highlight to finish off this look. I'm going to be using the L'Oreal La Vie en Glow palette, which is one of my favourite palettes that I have. I use this all the time on my videos and I'm just going to dip into the two lightest shades in the palette. I think this is called something completely different in the US. It is, gotta get this, it's going to annoy me, Lumi Glow. It's the Lumi Glow palette if you are in the US. It's a really nice palette, very, very subtle. It's not an in-your-face highlight, which is why I like it so much. So I'm just going to dust this over the tops of the cheekbones. She also had quite a shimmer up her nose. We're going to take it over the temples. And also just a little bit just above the brows. And in the center of the forehead. And a tiny weeny bit on the Cupid's bow. So that is the finished Princess Eugenie wedding look. I really hope you like it. I think it's such a pretty look and I think she looked stunning on her wedding day. But I am actually kicking myself at the moment because I went for a meal at my dad's yesterday, which is a running theme on a Sunday. All my wedding stuff is stored at my dad's house and I could have brought my tiara back and given you a little bit of a royal wave. Hello. Hello, nice to meet you. Hello. But I didn't, so you've just got me. Never mind. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, please do give it a big thumbs up. Just a quick tip for you, I am actually putting on the back burner my Twitter account and my Facebook account. I'm getting lots of personal messages from you guys, which I absolutely love. Please keep them coming. But if you want to message me, please only message me on Instagram or on YouTube. I'm struggling to get through everything because everything is so separated. So at the moment, I am just going to concentrate on my Instagram account, which if you haven't already followed me on Instagram, please do so because I will be asking you questions on there of what sort of things you want me to do next. And I do all that on my Instagram account. So please follow me on Instagram as well or message me on YouTube and I will try and get back to you as soon as I possibly can. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, there is a watermark in this corner. If you click on it, it will take you through to my homepage where you can subscribe. Hope to see you all again soon. Bye.